My name is Steve Murphy, and this is the Insider Exclusive. Each week we bring you the real stories behind the headlines, and today we have a story about what the real criminal justice system in America is like. How does a system that we have, which is pretty good, probably the best system in the world, right, in terms of justice?
I believe so.
How does a system how does this happen in a system like ours?
The thing to keep in mind, Steve, it's an industry. It's the criminal justice industry, and the industry is imperfect. It really is. Mistakes are made. And the death penalty is a government program. Mistakes are made in the administration of the death penalty, and in Kerry's case there were huge mistakes, prosecutorial misconduct, and an innocent person was convicted. And we just have to keep in mind, in America, if we want to have the death penalty, we need to be honest and say it's an imperfect system. Innocent people will, to some degree, be convicted. And the thing to remember is Texas leads the United States in putting people on death row. Texas is the epicenter of the death penalty in this country, and the politicians, and district attorneys are politicians. We have to remember that. They are politicians first, attorneys second. It takes a very courageous politician to admit that they've almost executed an innocent man, and unfortunately we don't have that kind of courage.
We really specialize in two things. First is my long-term practice has been representing institutional real estate clients in construction-related matters in kind of all things real estate litigation. And the second thing we do is we represent selected plaintiffs, individuals who've been seriously injured or hurt, and probably 80% of that practice has developed into representing children or adults who were abused as children by Catholic priests. And so it's an interesting practice.
Clergy sex abuse cases, right?
Correct.
You have quite a few cases of those, don't we?
Yeah, we have over 200 nationwide.
200, is it growing?
I wish I could say it wasn't, but it is.
And some of them you've even traveled all around the world to track down some of these people, right?
India, Ireland, New Zealand, yeah, and maybe making a trip to Pakistan soon. The Catholic Church is an international organization, and they frequently will move perpetrators across international boundaries to hide them from law enforcement and their victims.
You've been handling some, unfortunately, clergy sex abuse cases.
That is correct.
Our story, our show is about the story behind the headlines. We read that the San Diego diocese filed bankruptcy.
Yes, they did.
But I also understand that's good for your law firm, isn't it?
Well, it's good for our law firm because what it does is it really brings to light what the assets of the diocese really is or are. We suspect that they're sequestering and sort of hiding assets and funds.
The Catholic Church?
Isn't that shocking?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Now, I've read, seriously, I've read that they've moved some of their assets to entities offshore.
We believe that that is true, and we're going to be following up on that.
That is amazing.
And it's going to take a while to figure that one out.
That is amazing.
It's very common for someone to relapse and have to go through multiple treatment programs.
But the probation department and the prosecutor is going to say, this guy's had his chances. They're going to say that, aren't they?
They do say that.
And how do you counter that?
Because what I do is give much more in-depth information about a person and their background. I talk to a lot of people. I get a lot of documentation. I look at their educational history, their whatever they have, their military history. And I try to show try to find the real deep, dark secrets that they have not shared, to try to identify why they have not been able to maintain sobriety. And the support network is really important. The follow-through is really important. Many people will do fine in treatment, and when they come out, they'll relapse because they isolate. They don't have that support network around them.
You got to go back to the earlier catastrophes, the Northridge earthquake, the Loma Prieta earthquake. At that time, before 1995, everyone had what's called guaranteed replacement cost coverage, which meant that it didn't matter what your limits were. If your home burned down, they were going to guarantee your home's going to get replaced. And so people didn't pay attention to the limits. That's what they were being sold. And then in 95, of course, all the carriers were paying a lot of money in these catastrophes.
Right.
And then in 95, they switched to a thing called extended replacement cost, which gives you a policy limit plus 25%. Sounds like you're getting something better.
Yeah.
Extended replacement cost.
Right.
You're getting something less because the guarantee is now gone. And so now you have a finite limit. And that's the problem.
We're finding recently in our practice is the practice more often than not of insurance companies, once a claim is submitted, actually rescinding the policy, trying to allege that the insured had lied on the application, and therefore try to avoid paying what could be hundreds of thousands of dollars in insurance benefits.
Is this typical in the industry right now?
Unfortunately, I think it is typical, and I think in a large respect it's due to investments that the insurance companies have been receiving, or the lack of investment monies.
Right.
Typically, premiums are supposed to be based upon the risk, but a lot more goes into calculating a premium. A lot of it has to do with how well the insurance company is investing in the markets,
Right.
and based upon the return, they can adjust premiums, and they do adjust premiums.
And so if they're not doing well in the stock market, or their investments aren't doing well, they look to rescind policies, right?
That's one of the things they'll do. They'll look to find ways through reducing payout on claims, which then increases their bottom line.
Isn't there laws preventing this?
Every state has their own laws. California has a well-established body of law that prevents that.
Okay.
There are regulations in California that also seek to prevent that. But the biggest source of trying to keep insurance companies in line are individual policyholders who bring lawsuits against the carriers.
Thank you for joining us on the Insider Exclusive. You can see more of these shows at www.insiderexclusive.com. I'm Steve Murphy. I'll see you next time.